I think the last time I did a video on Tiffany Cross, aka Big Sister Loudmouth, was right around the time when she got quote unquote let go from her job over at MSNBC. Let's just be real here. She didn't just simply get let go. She got fired. And I and several others could not bring themselves to actually feel bad for this woman because of the stuff and rhetoric she has said out of her mouth, especially as it pertained to black men. And we just knew that it was going to be only a matter of time before she would crawl herself back into the media apparatus to try and, I guess, either get her job back or make a claim on why she got fired to try to see if she can get a job somewhere. So I'm going to read this article, and it's basically going to go and talk about how she feels that her intelligence was questioned about why she was let go from over at MSNBC. I'm telling you, Tiffany Cross probably got one of the biggest wake-up calls that year. Because remember, she also made comments along the lines of that black men need to stand behind black women. And when I say stand behind, I'm not talking about in supporting whatever endeavors they have, but basically play second fiddle to them. And that was the last straw right there. That was pretty much the nail in the coffin right there for her, at least as it came from the standpoint of black men. Tiffany Cross opened up this week about MSNBC suddenly severing ties with her in 2022, claiming she lost her weekend morning show because she had quote unquote drawn the ire of white conservatives. In other words, she got too comfortable. See, it was fine when she was dragging us over the coals, but the minute she stepped out of her lane, that's when they decided to pluck her from her show. She also asserted that her abrupt firing was very intentional on the part of MSNBC executives who wanted the rest of the industry to see her as unhireable, that we could not trust her with a live mic. Damn, those are some loaded words right there. My goodness, they said they wanted to see her as unhireable, basically saying no one else out there even dare try to give this woman a job, at least one where she's in front of the camera and she's talking to people. And therefore didn't allow her to issue a farewell to her viewers on air. It was a very abrupt firing because it's like when we heard about it, she probably heard about her being fired around the same time we found out. It's not like she knew before we did. We found out around the same time. Cross, alongside fellow cable news refugees Angela Rye and Andrew Phillum Gillum, recently launched a new weekly podcast called Native Land Pod. And for some reason, I don't know why, but YouTube continuously wants to try to recommend their pod to me. I clicked that not interested button so fast, it's as almost if I didn't see it at all. After Rye used last week's debut broadcast to deliver her own testimonial, and they're talking about what happened with her Chris Cuomo, and what led to her departure from CNN, suggesting it was tied to ex-CNN anchor Chris Cuomo, like I said, alleged inappropriate text to her, Cross discussed her exit from MSNBC on Thursday's show. MSNBC did not immediately respond to a request for comment. According to Cross, her notoriety on MSNBC's airways first ratcheted up following a segment on the network's flagship morning program, Morning Joe. After a heated exchange about race in the GOP with host Joe Scarborough, who she describes as MSNBC's favorite white boy, she began trending on social media, and this regularly happened following her increasingly regular Morning Joe segments. At the same time, she alleged Scarborough went to network brass to not only complain about her, but to tell them that Cross shouldn't be the successor to Joy Reid's weekend morning slot. At the time, Reid recently moved to weeknights, and the network was looking for her permanent weekend replacement. So check this out. Joe Scarborough, a PC man who she says is their favorite boy over there, almost like, you know, how they loved Tucker Carlson when he was over at Fox News. Like, he was their golden boy after what's his name, Bill O' Wife Beater, as I like to call him, got fired. Then he became their golden boy. Now they're basically trying to prop up Jesse Waters to be their next golden ticket, because he's the one that ended up replacing Tucker Carlson. So as you can see, Joe Scarborough, a PC man, ran to the higher ups and told them about her, and was basically telling them, do not have her be the successor of Joy Reid, because, you know, Joy Reid, she's lockstep and she ain't gonna get out of line. See, Tiffany, she got too comfortable over there and trying to tell those good old PC people what to do and how to function when she was not supposed to do that. She got a little, like they always say, you know, she got too comfortable, and they said nope. And all it took was one complaint from one man, and everything just comes down to shambles. But she had the nerve to try to come at us and come at us with all this vitriol like we did something personally to her. We're not the ones that got you fired, Tiffany. They were. The same ones who you try to be buddy with, try to cozy up with, were the same ones that cut, in so many words, cut your water off. As far as your job goes. It goes on to say, there's an unspoken rule that you're not supposed to disagree with Joe, and I didn't get that memo. You should have read the room. Despite Scarborough's purported efforts to sabotage her, Cross was eventually tapped to replace Reed's AM Joy Saturday slot, debuting The Cross Connection in late 2020. According to the Progressive host, though, she immediately began butting heads with the network over the content of her show, claiming MSNBC just wanted her to focus on Donald Trump. It was a battle to cover things that I wanted to talk about. The network's philosophy was Trump, Trump, Trump. They wanted me to be a part of the echo chamber, she declared. I wanted to cover things like inhumane treatment in prisons. That's something that disproportionately impacts my community, mental health among black men, the erasure of Afro-Latinos in the Latino community, land battles of the indigenous, Native Americans trying to get their family artifacts back from museums right here in America, black farmers reaching Latino voters, things like that. Saying she was spoken to in the most condescending ways during her battles with network execs, Cross added that she was confused as to why they wanted her to use the same recycled faces you see all the time, when she routinely had the highest rated weekend show on MSNBC. I would have somebody sit across from me and explain to me how news works, she bemoaned. I had my intelligence questioned. In the end, though, Cross believes it all went downhill when then Fox News star Tucker Carlson turned his attention towards her, accusing the black host of fomenting a Rwandan-style race war with her show's commentary. While Carlson's claim that Cross was inciting genocide against white people resulted in the Anti-Defamation League condemning the far-right nationalist host, Cross noted that MSNBC did not publicly have her back at the time. What did I say? Two wings attached to the same buzzard. That does not have to simply mean it as far as the political arena goes, because MSNBC is supposed to be the more liberal network and Fox News is supposed to be the more conservative network. But as you can see, they said that they didn't even have her back when she and Tucker Carlson were butting heads. You would think that Tucker Carlson was on their payroll. After this, the network did not issue a statement the way they had for some of my white colleagues who had also been targeted by MAGA extremists. Instead, executives spoke to me and instructed me that I could not respond to Tucker Carlson at all. And then they began to scrutinize my show and every little thing that I wrote. At the same time, Cross continued to deliver searing commentary about conservatives after the Carlson kerfuffle, which she explains further irked network executives. Specifically, she noted that she snarkily called Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas just a pubic hair on my Coke can. Additionally, during an infamous sit-down with Charlamagne tha God in the fall of 2022, Cross referred to Florida as the dick of America and that it should be castrated, taking aim at Governor Ron DeSantis' policies. After that show that morning, I got a call from the president of the network saying they were not going to be renewing my contract, which was up in a month, and that my viewers would not be given the courtesy or the respect of me not being able to sign off or have a final show. And this is exactly why I love being a part of the new black media. See, we're not bound by a contract. Everything that she just said right there, we could have easily said on here and not be worried about getting removed or snatched from somewhere. Sure, some of us like myself, I will speak in my own personal coded language because I like the terminologies that I come up with. People still be asking me to this day, what is PC? And I came up with that phrase in 2018. It's probably somebody who's watching right now is probably saying to themselves, what does PC mean? Because it doesn't mean, it can't be politically correct because he didn't use it in that phrasing. When that happens, it suggests to other people in the industry that this person is so unhireable that we cannot trust her with a live mic. The firing was very abrupt and it was very intentional. To my audience, my viewers, that you are not the type of viewers that the company cares about. I was devastated when my show was canceled. I was so sad. Stating that she was never given an official reason why the Cross connection was canceled. I mean, we can pretty much gauge why it was, but I'll let her dwell onto that. Cross said that it was pretty obvious that I had drawn the ire of white conservatives. Cross also took issue with the network torching her through the media, as well as MSNBC President Rashida Jones suddenly doing interviews with The View and other talk shows. The network began attacking me, Cross said. They planned hit pieces in the press. The president of the network began a bizarre unhinged tour where she was on damage control. I don't know what she was trying to do. At the time of Cross's exit, a network source told the Daily Beast that Cross's commentary had repeatedly crossed the line by failing to adhere to the network's editorial standards, explicitly pointing to her remarks on Charlamagne the God's Comedy Central program. Meanwhile, MSNBC staffers fretted that the network had just handed a win to Carlson, which would only encourage him to target more of the channel's personalities. So basically, they're telling you right there, Tiffany, you were just a token higher. And you crossed off two. You were black and you were a woman, but you're going to do what we want you to do, and you're going to say you're going to become our puppet. And if you dare step out of that sector, we're going to cut you off. And that's exactly what they did. And the thing is, you tested those waters. You tested them shark infested waters, and they said, okay, fine, we're going to cut you off. And not only we're going to cut you off, but we're going to do a humiliation ritual, quote unquote, with you as well. We're going to make it where you can't work anywhere else on any kind of network. Now, that just shows you right there the fact that she couldn't talk about Tucker Carlson the way that she wanted to on MSNBC, a network that he's not even on. Says a lot. That lets you know that these networks, they talk to each other. They may have their bickering back and forth, but guess what? That's just for entertainment purposes. That's just for views. You will be surprised how connected a lot of these networks are with each other that seem like they're not. Remember when they announced CNN a couple years ago was going to start leaning more to the conservative route? Now, if you look at a lot of people who watch CNN, and a lot of the stuff that they say about CNN back then is way different, and their tone is different than how they view CNN today. Some people saying it feels like I'm watching Fox News Junior in some instances. Because they're moving whichever way the wind blows. It's like that fair weather friend that comes one day and then they're gone the next, and then they'll blow right on back in when they feel like it, or whenever they feel they need something from that quote unquote friend. Sort of like the freeloader that's always just there to have their hand out. Something like that. The only person who apparently did not get the memo was Tiffany, because she said it right there in the article. She really didn't see it coming. I think they kind of gave her a warning even before she got her show, when Joe Scarborough went and basically snitched on her. That was her warning. But she kept it going and kept trying to push against it. But like I said, I can't bring myself to feel bad for Tiffany, because she had a lot of stuff to say about black people, but especially black men. Any chance she got, if she had to talk about black men, and the thing is, I'm sure that probably wasn't even in her little job description, but she did it anyway. Sort of like how I had to go in on Malika Andrews with the whole Josh Giddey situation. I feel nothing for her. I really don't. As a matter of fact, that little podcast that she has, 3 failures as far as I'm concerned. You have her, who had her own show, but she got too comfortable, got the axe, now she's on that podcast. Yeah, Angela Rye, another one who got too comfortable. She started off one way, but then she started to pivot in the direction that many of us just had her looking at her kind of side eye. And then when she came out about the whole Chris Cuomo thing, people really didn't feel bad for her, because it's like, you had all this stuff about black men, but when this PC man did something or said something to you, and I'm not denying that he did, because he most likely did, then you want to wait how many years later to say something? Okay, can't feel sorry for you either. Then you have Andrew Philem Gillum, a hopeful governor for down there in Florida. I don't know what his policies would have been. It couldn't have been any worse than DeSantis, but we'll never know, because he wants to go and have a rather raunchy good time in a hotel room. We all saw that. I don't have to go into the details. Don't feel bad for him either. All while married and had a couple of kids. Man, what a time that was. But yeah, Tiffany, you're on your own. That's really all else I can say. There's really no other plain way to put it. You are literally on your own. Now, if you ever get the chance to get back onto network television again, which I would not hold my breath if I were you, then so be it. If not, you had a good run, I guess.